My name is Admiral Alexei Ivanovich Petrov. Today marks the dawn of a new century, and with it, a new chapter for the Russian Navy under my command. As I stand on the deck of the flagship Tsar's Resolve, the crisp winter air of St. Petersburg fills my lungs, instilling a sense of purpose and determination. The world is changing rapidly, and I feel the weight of responsibility to steer our naval forces through these tumultuous times. The sea, with its unfathomable depths and unpredictable nature, mirrors the current state of our great nation, filled with potential yet fraught with challenges. My goal is no small feat: to modernize our fleet, to blend the proud traditions of our past with the innovations of the present. We must build ships that not only rival, but surpass those of our Western counterparts. In these waters, I envision a fleet of ironclads and dreadnoughts, armed with the might of our indomitable spirit. I am acutely aware of the resistance I face. The old guard clings to outdated practices, skeptical of change. But progress is like the tide, relentless and unstoppable. My aristocratic lineage may open doors, but it is my resolve that will navigate us through the stormy seas ahead. As we chart our course into this new era, I recall the words of my father: a true leader must be both the compass and the anchor for his people. I am prepared to be both for the Russian Navy. The journey will be long and fraught with peril, but our destination is clear: a formidable, resilient, and respected naval force. We set sail into uncharted waters, but I am undaunted. For in my heart I carry the fire of ambition for my country, the love for my people, and the unwavering belief in our destiny to rise as a naval superpower.
Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome to a new campaign series. Russia 1900. We have an enormous landmass, and we have an intense problem when it comes to defending this landmass. As many of you have pointed out in various comments, you need, essentially, 3 fleets. You need to have some presence over here in the Black Sea to defend your interests here. You also need to have a fleet capable of engaging, potentially, the Germans. The ports of Danzig and Palau are very, very close to Klaipėda, Riga, and some of the Finnish ports that I'll not even take a stab at pronouncing. We have, to some extent, the Arctic Ocean fleet here. Murmansk, Arkhangelsk. If you cannot break out of the Baltic Sea into the North Sea, you're going to have to go through the northern section. And of course, we have our more Pacific/Sea of Okhotsk issues. Ports of Petropavlovsk, Magadan, Moskalvo, Korsakov. We need to defend a lot. Oh, and sorry, Vladivostok, of course, over here. And there is no small empire nearby. Japan. But whereas I have to defend many different interests at once, the Japanese can field their entire fleet here. So I'm going to have to do a lot with a little. Now, for this campaign, I'm going to be running it for probably 60 years of in-game time. And that means it is not going to be just one admiral. No one admiral can rule for 60 years over the Russian Navy. So I'm going to be role-playing various different admirals, and that is why the admiral in the admiral's log had a different voice from mine. Now, this admiral, Admiral Petrov, he is one who wants to modernize the Navy, making it a formidable force in the world. That's the plan. So we're going to go heavy on research with this admiral. We're going to see what ships we have. We're going to see how we can modernize the ships and potentially build new ones. So let's first set some of the research priorities. I am not running any mods on this one. This is version 1.4.0.7, Live Opt X2. They really have a way with names. In case you're wondering about the version, there are no mods. So it is just the base game. Now, when it comes to research, I'm not so sure I even want to set a research focus, because a research focus, like control stations, it means that various other projects just take so much longer. If there are any things that I really want to focus on, I'd say maybe issue 1 research priority, but again, it just goes at the expense of everything else. What I do want to do is allocate more money to the tech budget. I have a fairly healthy amount of budget for that, and I might be able to max it out. Yeah, there we go, 90%. I'm not going to touch transport cap. I'm not going to do crew training. It is not the operation that this admiral is working with. Now, the Russian Empire does start with a really high degree of unrest. The people are distrustful. I have some naval prestige, but not a lot. I do have a very large navy to manage. But if you look at the numbers, it is not such a large navy in the sense of tonnage. But when it comes to numbers, you got 44 really small boats. You got 22 DDs and 22 torpedo boats. When it comes to the designs of not only my fleet, but also the enemy, this is where you guys have contributed a lot. Because I have loaded up, I think, about 1,100 different user-generated designs and set the campaign settings to always use those designs when available. So it is entirely likely that some of your ship designs made it into the designs that I currently have. And you can see that apparently the game decided that Router 97 wanted to get picked a lot. So we have 5 different ship designs. Let's have a look and meet our ships. What do we have here? Light cruiser. Immediately bad placement of parts. Scout class, 26 knots. That's really good for 1900s. It can do 11,000 kilometers. We have many bulkheads. It really isn't that interesting to look at all the components yet, because there simply isn't that much. I mean, you're going to find that it has a steam multiple expansion engine. Beyond that, you need to do a whole lot of research. It has some anti-flood, it has citadels, it has many bulkheads, not maximum. She comes with torpedoes of 17-inch, and I suspect those are underwater launchers. Yep, port, starboard, stern. We have an enhanced reloading system and advanced hydraulic turrets. These advanced hydraulic turrets are working to rotate 4.9-inch guns, and she also carries mines. So if push comes to shove and I need to defend myself, I can, just by deploying mines with these light cruisers. Beyond that, the ship has a really good acceleration of 3.7 knots per second. I still think that's pretty crazy. The way that these ships accelerate, I don't think it's that real. Pitch is awful on this ship. It's 50. You're paying a lot of accuracy from that. Look at that, minus 28 accuracy bonus from cruising. The ship is going to slow down very well. Yeah, cool, but I need to hit something as well. Interesting design. I think it is going to be something that really does well at scouting and hunting down torpedo boats and destroyers, but the moment that this encounters something that has any sizable guns, she's going to be in a rough spot. Her armor, 2.5-inch plus 53% armor quality, so we're getting another 1.25-inch. So yeah, your main belt, forebelt, stern belt, it's all really vulnerable. When it comes to the turrets, we do have 4.9-inch guns, upsized from 4-inch, and yes, this is actually a light cruiser hull. So, a light cruiser carrying 4.9-inch guns. Next, torpedo boat. This is the Speed Ski, as designed by Router 97. It has an interesting torpedo loadout, 1 port, 1 starboard, and are those guns bigger? No, they just look bigger because the hull is smaller. 3.9-inch guns, 3 on the stern, 3 on the bow, 4 on the stern, and traveling at 28 knots. So really living up to its name of Speed Ski. 8,877 kilometer range, so we can go places. Although, you know, trying to circumnavigate most of your territory and Europe to relocate from one port to another is going to be a bit of a problem. Also, a bit of a problem is the 87 points of roll. I have a minus 44% accuracy bonus from cruising speed. A minus 22% bonus from base accuracy. So I have all sorts of debuffs, and I think the best way to use this ship is to just do a torpedo drive-by. Just rush at a target, drop a torpedo, and hope that a 17-inch torpedo can blow a sizable hole in the enemy and disengage. Because I really don't trust these guns to do a whole lot of useful things. It comes with a mine hunter kit. It does not actually deploy mines, but then again, it's just a torpedo boat. It has 0 armor. Yeah. So even small arms fire, if that was a thing, could destroy this boat. The Admiralski. What do we have here? Of Seterov. Holy moly. What is this? This is like one of my kids designing a boat. Sorry, Router 97. That's not a stab at you, but okay. 20 knots, not 20 kilometers. 20 knots, capable of accelerating by a knot per second. It has, again, a pitch issue, but I think most of the designs are going to have that issue simply because the hulls are so bad. And being... No, wow, it's not even... I thought this thing was going to have massive draft, but it actually has 0% change of draft. Interesting. Maximum bulkheads, anti-torp 1, single hull bottom, citadel 1, anti-flood 2. Okay. 11.8 inches of armor. Now we are getting somewhere. 2-inch forebelt, 6.5-inch aft belt. Okay. So we're using the aft belt to balance out something on the bow. But I don't quite understand what. Because we got these turrets on the stern. And this cute little casemate... Sorry, turret barbette up there. I probably wouldn't want to be operating that thing when these go off. These guns, they're 11 inchers, they're Mark II, capable of reaching out to 18 to 19 kilometers on paper. In practice, you're probably going to be pretty happy if you hit something that is 5 kilometers away. Reload 70 seconds. Secondary armament, and this is where it is at. 30, yes, 30, 4-inch guns. That is going to be potentially putting a lot of ammunition out there. It's a good thing that we carry 9,900 rounds of ammo. Is that per turret? No, I think it's combined. So we got just shy of 10,000 rounds for these guns. And they're capable of reaching 7 kilometers, practically more like 4. And if you're hitting something at 4, I'd call that a small miracle. Beyond that, fairly okay on the protection side. The casemates have quite a lot of armor, which is good, because it means they'll actually survive an impact here and there, without getting completely fucked over and promptly losing a lot of crew. Next, the Finn, a destroyer. The Finn has a 92.4% roll. Jesus, what are you? Are you some sort of carnival ride or something? Minus 46% accuracy bonus from cruise speed. Well, best not be cruising then. Best not be maneuvering either. And what you really don't want to be doing is maneuvering at cruise speed, because then you're getting both the minus 46 and the 65% accuracy bonus. Well, accuracy penalty in this case. Good lord. The Finn, 31.7 knots, so it's even faster than the speed ski. It's carrying an interesting array of weapons. It actually has bigger guns than the light cruiser in the form of 5.1s. We have a 1.3 secondary, which can reach out to 3.5 kilometers, but again, with accuracy being what it is in this era, if you can hit something at a kilometer, that'd be much appreciated. 2 torpedo launchers. These are only 16-inch, pretty small. I hope that we can hit something with these. Minimum bulkheads make these things extremely weak. Low beam, low draft. We do have anti-flood, we got a double hull bottom, which is something that the battleship doesn't even have. Spacious quarters? Why? No minesweeping, nor mine deployment equipment. Essentially no armor, especially not on superstructure. And we're not even using maximum tonnage either. This is an awful design. Absolutely awful. I understand why Admiral Petrov would want to improve on these, because this is a really horrible design. The only good thing I can say about it is it has armor. Well, on paper, the protection section here looks pretty good. In practice? Yeah. Not so much. What's the flash fire chance on these? 9% flash fire, 65% chance of flooding. What the hell, dude? Does that have anything to do with the pitch, perhaps? No, that's... yeah, flooding chance plus 32. Flooding chance plus 14. Holy shit. What's the flash fire chance on these? What is the flash fire chance here? 23%. Okay. Now, what you can immediately see is that all of these are shared designs, except the fin. The fin was created by the AI. And it shows. Last ship. Comrade Cat. The Comrade Cat has some issues with her superstructure. For some reason. Some parts are badly placed. Error available. Well, it's Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Errors are always available in this game, don't worry. 21 knots, 11,000 tons of displacement. We have a pretty healthy amount of armor. I personally wouldn't have picked Harvey armor, but okay. We are using an armament in the form of 9-inch guns. 6 of them. And then 16 5-inchers. This is definitely another one of those volume boats. Then we got a couple of 5-inchers. I wonder if this actually does anything. But we'll just have to see how that goes. As for the rest, armor looks pretty good. Main belt 8.2 inches. This is really well protected. 4.3, 3.9. Pretty well balanced. 1.2 in the superstructure means we're going to start losing some superstructure and funnels. 13% chance to flash fire. Acceleration is good. Yeah, it's not a bad ship. I can probably work with this thing. Keep the battleships safe. Add even more firepower to the battleships in dealing with smaller ships. The sad thing is that they don't have a torpedo launcher. So it's going to be difficult for these to take on anything larger than a heavy cruiser. But then again, I suspect a heavy cruiser is not really up to that task. Alright, so that's the fleet. We're first going to go and do a bit of research. I'm going to skip a couple of months and then see if we have some better tech. And hopefully get some better ships. It wasn't going to take Japan long to start raising the threats. They're threatening us that they'll declare war. I have a few options. I can say, well, we're going to be mobilizing ourselves, which will give me more prestige, but will also cause more unrest. And the relationship with Japan is going to be pushed over the edge. Or I can give them an amount of money, which is basically half my budget, which is unacceptable. Or I can give them all of my budget, all of my naval funding. And I'll avoid war. No thank you. So here we go. It is only July 1900 and Europe, well not Europe, Russia and Japan are at war. But this has the potential to cause a bit of a chain reaction with the rest of the world. I have been trying to build a relationship with the Germans, so Germany, Japan taking a hit is good news for me. My Russian Empire building with the German Empire is good. Let's see how well or how poorly this is gonna go. Because we now have to face the wrath of the Japanese Navy. What do we have? Ooh, that's a sizable group. A battleship, 4 heavy cruisers, 2 CLs, 7 DDs, and 3 torpedo boats. What is in Korsakov? Not nearly enough, is what we have in Korsakov. Moskalvo. 1 heavy cruiser. Petropavlovsk, 2 heavy cruisers. Vladivostok, 1 battleship. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, and we got Magadan with 1 one light cruiser and 5 TBs. Oh boy. First, we're gonna blow our tech budget through the roof. We're gonna push our crew training to maximum. And I'll give a little bit of extra transport capacity because I suspect I'll be losing some. Now, when it comes to the operations in the Sea of Okhotsk, I think it's best if I'm able to bring all of my ships together. But because they're all spread out, that's not an easy feat to pull off. The battleship from Japan here is going to be heading my way as well. There's a couple of DDs there. How many ships do the Japanese have? They got 6 battleship, 14 heavies, 20 lights, 26 and 26. Good lord. That's a lot of ships. That is a lot of ships. Oh, there's another DD coming this way. There's another task force over there in Yellow Sea. I need to try and strengthen relationships with the Chinese to make sure this does not tip over into also having to fight the Chinese. Because the Chinese have a sizable navy. And I am not at all interested in fighting them. Oh, there's another CL coming my way. Perfect. I would love to meet these guys head on. But this task force is too big. When in doubt, do nothing. I'm going to sit in my ports. I'm going to try and crank out a couple ships capable of deploying mines. It is going to be a new ship design. And I need to wait 1 more month so I can get a new destroyer design for 900 tons. We're just going to play the waiting game a little bit. Wait 1 month, get a better destroyer design. Because this situation is not favorable for me. I need to make sure that I have the ships first and then take the fight to the enemy. Up until that point, we're going to take we're going to wait for the enemy to come to us, run into our minefields, and start taking a lot of damage, and potentially then we can take them out. So, they want to have a battleship. Norway wants to have a battleship. No, not really. Because I kind of need all my shipyard capability right now. Okay. Ah, crap, didn't work out with the Chinese. Okay, so what do we have going on here? Our first little fight. We're defending our convoy. It's going to be the destroyer and 2 torpedo boats against 2 Japanese destroyers. The Kishinami and the Hatsuyuki. Both really fast boats at 34.9 knots. Good lord, this is going to be an interesting fight. Let's do it. In editing, I've decided to cut out quite a bit of this battle, because it was simply rather uninteresting. My torpedo boats, slow, can't exactly keep up with the Japanese torpedo boats, or sorry, the Japanese DDs. On top of that, they can't turn very well, their torpedoes have short range. So trying to get a torpedo to actually collide with one of these ships is going to be rather difficult. Now, the lead torpedo boat over here instantly gets itself melted, as some shells, I think designed to hit the destroyer, just completely whacked over that torpedo boat, leaving me with one torpedo boat. It actually has a decent amount of guns, and might open up the way to slowing down the enemy, so that the destroyer can keep up. My destroyer at this point had already lost its conning tower. I tried to force one of the enemy destroyers to turn around by launching a torpedo at it. It basically scuffed at me, turned a little bit, and continued on her merry way. So that didn't exactly do a whole lot of damage, but that sure did, as the Japanese DD takes a couple of shots at the doggo, and even the Russian DD, my DD, takes a couple of shots at the torpedo boat. So now I have 1 torpedo boat dead and 1 badly wounded and flooding. I throw out the last torpedo, and again, the Japanese destroyers basically scuff on me and go, yeah, I don't think so, kid. So, I have 1 torpedo left. The doggo has no guns. I have 1 torpedo left in the form of a torpedo boat. I'm going to use the doggo as a torpedo, and do the most Russian thing and just throw the whole boat at the enemy target. This does cause some damage. However, the damage was really lackluster. I was not expecting any serious damage, but at least a flooding would have been nice. Somehow, Kishinami did basically take a scratch, like 4% of her structural integrity, and called it a day. No flooding, no fires, no serious crew loss, nothing. I'm not sure how exactly this happened. Anyway, this leaves me with 2 dead torpedo boats, 1 destroyer that can't exactly hit anything, and an interesting conundrum as to how to save this convoy. So back to real commentary stealth. So that leaves me with the Assurits as the only thing out here. This is going to be a really tough challenge. I have the torpedo launchers. I'm facing something that has more displacement, is faster, most likely has more accurate guns, and is about to reload its torpedo tubes. This is going to be a really interesting challenge. Ooh! So much for your destroyer torpedo launchers. That was 1 shot, instantly destroying the Kishinami's torpedo launchers. So she's now a full gunboat. That's good. There might be hope yet. Oh. Come on. No, we're gonna focus on this one. This is the closest. Unfortunate. How fast do these guns reload? 12 seconds. How fast are you doing in a turn, Kishinami? 24 knots. You? 24. Look, I'm trying to catch up to you, alright? This is not helpful. Ugh. More. Oh no. Hatsuyuki's cruising directly for the convoy. The convoy is not armed. I think the Japanese are gonna have their way with this one. I don't really see a way to go about this and save the convoy. Shows how urgently I need a bigger destroyer. Not only bigger, but also something that has less pitch and roll. But, you know, hulls this era, generally quite awful. Pfft. 600 meters out. Still missing everything. This chasing thing is going to take a while. What? 400 meters. At least make it look like you're trying. How? Dude. The thing is, they're sailing away. It's not exactly possible for me to throw torpedoes at them either. Are those even for me? Oh god, that's gonna keep running and it's gonna go right at the convoy. Hatsuyuki has more. Yep, there's the second spread. The accuracy on this thing is so awful. How do I make this ship... Ooh! How do I make the ship work? Engine damage, that helps. 21 knots. At least they speed up pretty well. Come on. %5 chance to hit, look at that. %8. Send it. If nothing else, our torpedo launchers might be used to force this thing to change course. Looks like the transports are so far safe from torpedoes. Only have one reload for the torpedo launchers. Oh, I'm running out of HE shells. Oh boy. Oh boy. Come on. What? Wow. That was a fantastic hit on not even an intentional target. Hatsuyuki is flooding. Wow, we got him. Accidental kill. I was not trying to shoot that ship. I was trying to shoot the Kishinami. But crew incompetence and lack of rangefinder being what it is, I actually managed to hit the other ship. Slow. We're not trying to board them. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Minimum bulkheads. I'm dead. Well. This is awkward. I have no controllable ships. The only thing I can hope for is that the time runs out. Ain't nobody got time for that. Leave the battle. The game was actually pretty favorable, and said that Kishinami suffered heavy damage. Unfortunately, the Japanese also managed to sink all 15 of my transports, giving them another 451 victory points. This is not a great way to start a campaign. Now, let's get a better ship designed. Because I'm going to do the Russian thing, I'm going to crank out many more destroyers, making up what I don't have in quality by sheer numbers. So, let's see, what do I have? Destroyer 1, I think. It's the only destroyer hull I have, the rest are torpedo boats. Okay, I can go up to 900 tons, I believe. Yes. And what sort of torpedo boat? No, I'm going to crank out the minimum viable product. Front tower 1. Torpedo launchers to deal with any nasty battleships. Holy moly, look at that pitch and roll. I'm going to make it a little worse. We're going to put these on side mounts. Like that. Now my roll is 99%. If I up the beam... Yeah, fine. I'll shrink it down. I gotta get below the 900 ton limit. Come on. Actually, the problem with going with a wider boat to create a stable firing platform is that it's going to be very, very difficult to get all of that weight up to speed. Zero beam. Steam multiplex engine. No, I said minimum viable product, not maximum. Steam basic. Let's give them at least a chance to survive, especially considering that they will get hit. Single hull bottom, double. 5 million for a DD in 1900 feels expensive. Okay, go to 900 tons. I don't care about range much. Engine efficiency is awful. There we go. Range is now a little better. Rangefinder. Coincidence, because it'll be a complete coincidence if I can actually hit something. We're gonna go with a mine hunter and a mine sweeper. Actually, no, these are mine layers. Just pure mine layers. I don't care about mine sweeping. I'll not send these out unless I upgrade them. Guns. We only have Mark IIs. I'm gonna go with something like a 4-inch. The purpose is to engage small ships, destroyers, and get rid of them quickly. That's the plan. That's the objective. I do have the option of adding barbettes. I don't know how the command tower is going to be seeing much of anything, but we'll just have to pretend that they can somehow work. Here we go. Almost 6 million for a DD. The devs really have gone completely overboard with the price tag on these things. Alright, electric hydraulic turrets. Enhanced reloads. Let's make them longer barrels, so I can give them as much chance as possible to hit something. It's still not spectacular, but we're looking at, let's say on an average day, about 10% chance to hit. And that's a 1,000 meter range. Flash fire chances 4.5. I don't want to do too much here because it's going to make... Oh, it's going to make it cheaper? Cheaper is better. Ballastite. Max HE loadout, check. Can I upgrade the crew quarters? Yes. Can I change the draft? There we go. That makes the ship a little cheaper. I can lower the displacement. I can lower the displacement all the way? Okay. I'm not sure why they picked 691 tons. It feels like a very arbitrary number. But okay, if that's what the game wants to do, that's what the game wants to do. When it comes to the engines, I don't want to upgrade this. Steam steering is fine. Flooding chance is quite high. We'll just have to hope that these guys can actually make something work. I'm going to load the fast torpedoes, giving these a torpedo speed of 38 knots, but only 1 kilometer. If they encounter a battleship, it's run at the battleship, hit it with the torp, and run right way. Because you'll not have the staying power. Armor-wise, let's give them maybe 0.5. So that they can at least defend against something. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, it just has to be somewhat survivable. Very, very Russian. Side armor, 1 inch over there, 1 inch up here. And I don't need to change the diameter. So we're still paying 5.7 million. That's probably more expensive than the fin. Yeah. But it's also a much better boat. Much, much, much better boat. At least I think so. Okay. The Zvonky class of DD. Let's get a couple of these guys built. Preferably close to the conflict, because that's where we're going to need them. And that's where we're going to have to deploy these guys as quickly as possible. Let's get to building. I'll take, let's say, 5 of them. No, 10 of them. There we go. We're going to crank these out at best speed. And building shouldn't take that much time, because they're fairly small. 7 months. 7 months. I think that's really good. We're going to deploy all of these in Vladivostok. Why there? Because it is the closest operational port to the Japanese. Right there. I want to start deploying mines. Actually, I want to have a couple in Korsakov. Just to make sure we can mine that place. So, you, and you. Oh, now I cannot change the port anymore. Okay. That's unfortunate. Right, everything is going to get built in Korsakov. Lovely. As for the rest, well, we'll just have to wait. Because this is just getting started. I hope you guys are enjoying the new campaign. If you see your design in here, by all means, let me know. What design is it? Is it potentially one of the Japanese designs? Is it one of the Chinese? We'll see. Because there is probably a lot of fighting going to be had. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to support my work, please support me on Patreon, link down below. And beyond that, I shall see you soon for the next episode.